Yes.
Like estimated amount per occasion?
I guess I would say over the span of a few days, half a pack.
And your lungs abstain?
Only a week.
Going back to what you said, lungs abstain, those are some good goals to have, even though it may not have been long to you, but those are actually pretty good to start off with. We'll definitely
Okay.
find some other ways to cope if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, really don't want to end up like my dad, so.
Understood. We'll definitely talk about that later on. Marijuana,
No,
cocaine,
no,
opiates,
nope,
hallucinogens,
nope,
amphetamines,
nope,
sedatives or hypnotics.
no, ma'am.
All right. Are there any other ones that you have in mind that I haven't listed out?
No,
Okay. Do you have any like substance related problems such as like family, friends concern, acting out, tolerance, withdrawal, any of those?
luckily, no.
Okay. And have you had treatment for the alcohol and cigarette usage?
No,
No. Okay. All right, moving on to your legal history. Any current charges?
no, ma'am.
Okay, past criminal record, if any.
Yeah, this is where I had my episode when I was in the military and I started acting manic and crazy. So it's a bit of a list. I had a series of arson acts. I attempted theft of government property. It was one of their helicopters. I was trying to leave. And I also impersonated my older brother, which is also a criminal charge.
And throughout these acts, would you explain how you felt, if anything was coming in your head that made you do these?
At the time, it made me feel great because I felt like I was superior and I was on top of the world. But I mean, looking back, obviously, I do regret it. I didn't realize I was bipolar at the time. So I know that's definitely not the way to handle it. But I think for me, I felt like I could do anything I put my mind to.
Definitely. We'll talk about this later on to see if we can get to the bottom of the problems, if anything else is going on. Moving on to our mental health history. Do you have any current knowledge of family history of mental illness?
As I was saying earlier, my mom's bipolar, and my father and my older brother have both had a history with alcoholism.
How would you describe your mood generally?
Sometimes I feel energetic, erratic, and like powerful. Like I said earlier, that I could do whatever I put my mind to, but other times I'll be in a slump and I'll feel super depressed.
Have you had any suicidal ideation or gestures?
No,
No. Okay. Anxiety, stress, or worry?
I'd say yeah, on a daily basis, I'm pretty much always anxious.
Would you mind telling me what tends to make you anxious the most?
I don't really think it's anything necessarily in general. I guess if I were to try to pinpoint it, my dad takes a pretty heavy toll on all of us because he still doesn't really, he's kind of homeless. But he still comes home and like stays at home occasionally. It just takes a toll on everybody in the family. So I think that is, if I were to try to pinpoint my anxiety, I'd say it's mostly that.
Okay. Any irritability?
Yeah.
Would you mind explaining that a little bit more?
I'm like I said, just day by day basis. I'm kind of always a little irritable. Just come home straight from work and then go to bed. Next thing, like I'm not very good with routines, and my life has kind of turned into a routine. So,
Gotcha. Any sleep problems?
yes,
Would you say you lie awake most nights staring at the ceiling, or would you say it's more so just hard to fall asleep?
really hard to fall asleep.
Do you have an idea as to why?
I'm really not sure. I don't know if maybe it could have something to do with my bipolar disorder. Um, it's definitely something I've always been meaning to look into, but I guess I have other priorities most of the time.
Gotcha. We'll definitely later on in our sessions we'll talk about some things that can help us fall asleep or some activities that can really get us to calm down at night. Any delusions or hallucinations?
Yes, as to delusions, no to hallucinations. When I was having one of my manic episodes, I believed that I was the next coming of Jesus Christ. Um, Everybody else seemed to believe me too, which kind of made it worse. It added fire to fire. But when I say there was a series of arson acts, it was when I was in that episode.
And afterwards, would you explain how you felt, any emotions that you were going through?
Well, at the time, I felt great, and I did feel like I was the next coming of Christ. But once I came down from it, I obviously had the very depressive stage where I didn't leave my bed for like a week or two. Very dramatic change.
Do you have any knowledge of previous diagnoses?
Bipolar disorder is the only thing I've been diagnosed with.
Okay. Any previous psychological testing of any sort?
Yes.
Do you mind explaining which one or what they
Um,
did?
I got a few. I had a few experiences with getting questionnaires and such going when I have tried to go to therapy before. They just kind of try to categorize my anxiety in a way that they can understand, see if I'm ADHD, but nothing's ever turned out of it.
Gotcha. Well, definitely, through our session, I'll be able to really take a look into how you're feeling, really understand, and I would never judge you for anything that you say during our time together. So I hope this session is pretty good for us.
I appreciate that.
Of course. Any treatment for mental health, inpatient or outpatient?
None for inpatient, but outpatient. I've gone to the emergency room before, and then like I said, I've had a few experiences in therapy.
Or any knowledge of any psychiatric medications you're currently taking?
This is gonna make me sound irresponsible. I didn't really like the medication they gave me. Felt like it controlled me too much, so I just don't take it.
There's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I understand where you're coming from with many medications that doctors prescribe us. They start to make us feel drowsy or make us feel different. So we'll definitely take a look into that and see what we can do to help that.
Great, I
Um,
appreciate that.
of course. Any medications you have been on in the past?
Nope, the one that they gave me, I can spell it out for you.
Okay.
It's CARBAZEPINE.
And did they tell you what the reason for taking this was for?
To manage my bipolar episodes.
All right. Moving on to our daily activities. How would you spend your typical day?
Well, my husband works at my security job with me. So I would say wake up, go work, come back, have a couple beers with the rest of my siblings, and just kind of hang out with my family at the end of the day.
And during that time, would you say you feel you're in a better mood or is there
Yes, I always really have felt like my family is the only people who I can really trust and who genuinely care. So spending time at home with the rest of my siblings is what makes me happiest.
what kind of things do you do for fun?
I really don't have much of a social life, so I would say my idea of fun is spending time with my husband and my siblings.
Have you noticed deterioration in your personal care?
No,
No, okay. Any recent marked constriction of interest in activities?
Yes, but that's only during episodes.
Impaired ability to interact with others,
No,
and impaired ability to understand, remember, or carry out instructions.
no.
And going towards our last session, your social history, could you tell me more about your social life, even though you did say you don't really have one, except that you like to spend time with your family and siblings? Is there anything else that you'd like me to know about your social life?
Not really.
And could you describe your friendship/romantic relationships?
Like I kind of said earlier, my husband and I have always had a very physical and aggressive relationship, but we do really love each other. Um, but aside from that, I really don't have very many friendships outside of occasionally being friendly with a coworker. But in this security job, since he works there, I'm not as inclined to make friends.
And is this something that you would like to change, or are you more comfortable with where you're at right now?
I'm comfortable with where I'm at.
All right, and our last question, how would you handle an argument with your significant other? I know you said earlier that it sometimes turns into physical fights. Is there anything different that you guys would do depending on the situation?
No, but as I said, it gets physical. I very quickly get angry. I'm a little short-tempered. Um, but in terms of arguing in general, the entire family, it's kind of family history that none of us are deal with conflict very well. It's probably where I get it from.
Definitely understood. Any additional questions or anything that you have for me?
I think that's all I have to say. I felt like we covered a lot today.
Great.
Definitely heavy session. So
Well, I'm glad that you did come in today. In our future sessions, if you're comfortable with that, we'll definitely go a lot smoother. We'll take things one step at a time just to make sure that you're continuing to stay comfortable and everything is good. If there's anything else that you have for me, please let me know. I can drop my phone number and email in the chat box if you need me, and I'll see you next time.
thank you so much for your time.
Of course.